Tamara Basic Tees here, and today I'm going to show you how to make a mini tube top with drawstring sides. And being the thrifty person that I am, the materials I use to make a pattern is wrapping paper or newspaper. So I'm going to show you how to make this pattern on my mannequin here. So let's get to it. The materials I'm going to use to make this pattern is some wrapping paper, pattern size in, fold it in half, use the white side, and a Sharpie. And all you're going to do, I'm going to use a mannequin to show you how to make the pattern. You can do this on yourself in a mirror. That was actually my intent to this video. So you're just going to cover your breasts with the wrapping paper and use your Sharpie and draw a line of where you want it to be. So there's the top, feel the under part of your breast, draw it across the bottom, and then put it on the sides where you would like it to be, or where you would like it to fall, because this is an open back. It's just going to have strings on the side. And draw a line straight down after you feel where you want it to be. So when you're done, it's just going to end up being this big rectangle. And I'll show you how to fine tune it. So now we're at my cutting table, and I'm going to show you how to fine tune this pattern piece. I've drawn it twice. The reason I'm showing you is just to show you how it may look. It's not going to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. You're going to fix it right here and make it perfect. So depending on the width of the elastic you use, I usually use a 1/4 inch elastic. You could also use a 1/2 inch. You're going to have to add that seam allowance onto your pattern piece. So you're going to add about a 1/4 inch of a line all the way across on both sides, because this is going to get folded under. So on the sides of the breasts, that's where you put the drawstring through. And usually for me, that takes up about a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to add a 1/2 inch to that side. 1/2 inch on this side too, 1/2 inch on both sides. So this still isn't perfect. It doesn't need to be. It's close, and it's going to be off. It's not going to be perfect. You can fix it later. So I'm just going to take my rotary cutter, and I am going to cut out this pattern. It's wider over here and narrower over here. So I'm going to try to even it up with my rotary cutter. And I have been doing this for such a long time that I kind of can eyeball things. And if you do this for years and years, you will be able to figure that out. So let's just get rid of these scraps. We don't need those anymore. So this is your pattern piece. To make it better, you're just going to fold it in half and see if the sides match up. So you're folding it in half, and it lines up pretty good. I use this cutting table very frequently because you can control the lines with the cutting table. Use the straight edge, and I put this right on the line because there's grids on my cutting table, and I'm going to cut it off and make it even on the opposite side. Over here. And then you're going to do it on the sides just to make sure they're square. And I'll show you the wrapping paper side. It doesn't have the lines that you drew. So this is your pattern piece. So now that I'm done with the pattern piece, I went and grabbed a piece of fabric, and you're just going to put it over your fabric. The reason for the arrow is there's different grains to the fabric. It goes one way and then the other way. When it's woven and put together, I don't know a whole bunch about it, but I just know that there are different grains to the fabric. So you're going to want to find the grain and put this line on the grain. I already cut one earlier and didn't like it, so I am starting again. So you're just going to put this down on the grain of the fabric, and you're just going to cut around it. The fabric's really slick, so if it slides, just take a look at it and put it back in place of where it was. If you cut off 1/8 of an inch of your pattern piece, it's not really that big of a deal. An 1/8 of an inch or a 1/16 of an inch isn't going to make that much of a difference, because you're going to end up cutting some off when you add the elastic with your serger anyway, if you're using a serger. So there is the finished pattern piece. I am at my serger, and we're just going to put a finishing stitch on either side that's going to go on the side of your breast. So once you do that, this is going to show on the inside. You'll see when I'm finished. I'm just going to add the elastic into my contraption. And you can see this in a previous video about sergers where I talk about sewing in the elastic. I'm not sure what number it is. I'll add it when I edit the video. So I fed the elastic through, and I just put this right underneath here. There's my 1/4 inch elastic, and you can buy this attachment for most machines. So you're going to add this elastic to both sides. So look and see how it kind of gathered that for you. That's what the attachment did. Snip it off. Sew it all the way through. So now we're going to go to the cover stitch machine, or you can use a home zigzag machine. So you're going to fold over your elastic one time, and you're going to make it pretty tight. You don't want it to pucker because it'll make weird marks on the fabric. So fold it over really tight and just start to feed the end of the elastic through, and the bottom of the feed will like grab it and pull it through. I don't always have the correct terminology, but that's what happens when you're self-taught. So every time you pull it through, you're going to just kind of pull it over to the side just to make it real tight so it doesn't have that pucker. Now where you put it under your foot is going to be totally different for everybody. If you use a wider elastic, it's going to be a little bit farther over. So just switch it around and move it to the other side. Fold it over, pull it real tight. So you've hemmed both of those sides. That's done. Hemmed over. Now you're going to go to the straight stitch machine, or you're going to switch your zigzag to a straight stitch. If you haven't already, go ahead and cut off the extra pieces of elastic. You're not going to use that anymore. Kind of skip stitches there a little bit, but I'm just showing you how to do this real quick. So you're going to fold it over about 1/2 inch, and you're going to secure that stitch at the top and bottom. So forward, backwards, and then all the way through. Just fold it over 1/2 inch and try to sew it in the center of that serger thread. Got to do the other side. So that's the top. You just have to string something through either side. So here are the 2 piping pieces that I made, and I'll show you how to string those. But I just also wanted to show you that you could just buy some black elastic. You could thread that through there. It doesn't have to be piping pieces. You could get some cord elastic and you could string that through there. It doesn't have to be a piping piece. You could also get lace. You should check out your Notion section, and you could kind of jazz this top up a little bit. So you're going to use a string turner thing that I talk about every once in a while. Not sure what it's called. And you're just going to poke it through one side. You're going to take the piece of piping and you're going to hook it on the end, and you're going to pull it all the way through. Now I've made my pieces extra long so that you could wrap it around your torso and just kind of play with it. If you wanted to, you could just restring this side and then it would just wrap around your neck and tie around your back. But I'm going to make it stringy. So that's why I made 2 piping pieces. And then you're gonna poke the stringy thing through again and pull it through the other side. Just like that. That's your finished tube top with drawstring sides. So this is the finished product. I made the strings extra long so it crisscrosses in the back and ties in the front. You can scrunch it up real small on the side of the bust, or you can open it up and have a little bit more coverage. I hope you found this educational, and if you like what I'm dishing out, go ahead and subscribe. Don't forget to check me out at basictees.com.